Coach Lemmon, I'm here. We're going to do a 3-hole playing lesson. I'm going to talk you through each shot, target selection, how I chip, how I putt. Hope you guys enjoy it. Let's get going. Hit a pretty bad tee shot, double crossed it. I'm left, I've got like 100 yards in, but I've got this tough uphill lie, and I just want to get, plus it's down in the rough, and so I'm going to take a pitching wedge, swing kind of easy, and see if I can just pop one up on the green. Yeah, I have that tough shot up and over the trees, and it was kind of in a tough lie, kind of a tough spot, uphill. So with an uphill lie, you're going to get more angle, more loft on the club just because of the uphill part. So I went ahead and took a little more club, swung a little soft, didn't hit it that great, end up a little short. So good shot, but the key was with those uphill lies, you want to make sure you're taking a little more club. Also is down in the grass. It wasn't one that we'd catch like a flyer. It wasn't like all chunky like that. It was just kind of hard to get out of there. So I knew it's going to take a little more. So going into greens, if you've got kind of an iffy lie, if you've got an uphill lie, just make sure you take a little more club, and that'll definitely help you get closer or on the green. Ended up a little short with my shot in. I've got about 15 yards, about 45 feet to this pin, and it's a very straightforward chip shot. This is a pretty easy one. You've seen in some of my other lessons with Lemmon about chipping, I like to keep it low and running. So I'm going to hit just my 52-degree wedge because I feel like that gives me the best chance to chip this just on the green and let it roll close to the pin. And I'd love to roll this in, but let's see, if I can get this close within 5 or 6 feet and make the putt for par, go on to the next hole. Let's see what we can do. Not my best shot. Left the chip shot a little short. Got about 8 feet left for par. It's going to go a little right to left, and I want to make sure that I get it to the hole, but speed is the most important part of any putt, and I want to make sure that I die this in the hole or get it close enough that I'll have a tap in for the next shot. Bang. Okay, cool. The nice thing about that putt is I left it below the hole, even though I chipped it a little short. So I had a fairly easy putt up the hill. Broke just a little bit, gave it a little extra speed, went in just fine. We're even par through one hole. This next hole is a short par 3. I mean, it's only 110 yards. And I always like to look at the flag up on the courthouse, which is like a couple miles away, but you can see it very well from here, and to check what the wind is doing. And today the wind is doing, there's almost no wind at all. Like the flag of the courthouse is not even moving. So that's kind of a good tip, is to make sure. I also like to check like the weather app before I come out and play and see what the wind's going to do, and kind of go through the hour by hour and see like, okay, the direction of the wind. Is the wind going to be 10 miles an hour, 15 miles an hour, what it's going to be, to give me an idea of how to play. Because when you get on the course, you've got trees all around you, and sometimes the wind kind of blows through and you can't really tell, or you can't really tell what the flag is doing on the green. So I always like to use kind of some outside resources, whether it's a weather app on my phone, or like this, you can see a flag on a tower that's up in the sky, to kind of get a more accurate idea of what the wind's actually doing. So with this particular shot, we're at 110. I'm going to go ahead, and the danger on this hole is over. You do not want to be over. You could be down the hill. You could be, almost 100 yards away if you go over the hill. And I'm going to hit my 50-degree wedge and see if I can get it on the green. And it's, for this club, I'm kind of in between a little bit, but I want to make sure that I understand where the danger is and I hit the club that will give me the best shot to get on the green, but also to make sure that I don't go into a spot I don't want to go in. Since these greens are so small out here, especially on this one, even though the pin was to the right, I aimed at the middle of the green, and I had to swing a little hard to get my 52-degree wedge to the distance I needed, and I pulled a little left. And in hindsight, I kind of do that occasionally. If I swing a little hard, I have a tendency to pull it, so I should have maybe adjusted for that. But so we're pin high. We've got kind of this goofy downhill lie, and I'm just going to use a pitching wedge with this downhill lie. I've got tons of green to work with. I know it's going to go left to right. I'm just going to try to chip it up and let it run all the way down to the hole. Now, if this was not a downhill lie and I had this distance, which is like, I don't know, 40 or 50 feet, I would normally, if it was on a flat lie, I'd probably use like an 8-iron. But since it's coming downhill, it's going to take some of the loft off of it. So I'm just going to use a pitching wedge. And the grass is kind of in an odd spot. And this is actually a pretty tough shot. But I'm just going to try to get the ball to about there, rolling on the green, and see how close we can get with it. That's a little hard. Yeah, it's interesting. There's so much grass here, but that one came out really hot. Always a good reminder to always fix your ball marks, especially on par threes. So I actually putted or chipped up over here behind the sign. So rules of golf let you remove things like this. So we're just going to set that aside for a second. See if I can make this. It's about a 12-foot putt. It's going to be downhill a little right to left. Ooh, 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 ooh. Close, 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 close. Very close. Now, even though this is only about 2.5 feet, I'm going to make sure you give it your full attention. All right, so 1 over through 2 holes. I mean, that's just kind of what happens when you put yourself in a bad spot. I had a tough chip. I almost got up and down for par, so I'm not going to beat myself up for a bogey there. So, all right, we've got a shortish par 4. It's like 345. The key on this one for me is not to go left. Left is all kinds of trouble. Even if I push out to the right, you still got a chance. So the key for me, I'm aiming middle of left side and letting a little fade back towards the fairway. All right, decent shot, kind of toe hooked it there. I've got just under, it's about 95 yards to the middle of the green. And what I like to do is assess the danger first. So I know that over is in trouble. I mean, there's like out of bounds over there. If you hit the downslope, it's bad news. There's also bunker right. So what I want to do is aim towards the left middle of the green. There's actually kind of a telephone pole that I'm aiming at. And I want to make sure that I take a club that will not go over the green, because that's worst case scenario. Bunker's fine, but over the green is bad. So at this, I've got, again, like 95 yards. It's uphill just slightly. But I'm going to go ahead and hit my 56-degree wedge, because I know that if I hit that, even as hard as I can, it definitely won't go over. And that's the key. So after I've assessed the danger, then I want to put a nice positive spin on it and look exactly at my spot and think about hitting a nice solid shot. And let's see what we can do. All right, a little short, but that's okay. Good shot. Hit a decent shot in. Again, I was taking the club that I wanted to make sure that I left it short. More I thought about it, I forgot it's about 5 yards up. So that was probably closer to like 102. But again, I didn't want to go over. So in my opinion, I hit a good shot. I've got about 25, 30 feet left for birdie. Go in, go in. Well, let's go. Finish with a birdie, even par through 3 holes. The key there on that hole, though, is that I took a very conservative target. I didn't aim at the hole. I didn't take an extra club to try to make sure I got to the hole. Because if I had hit my 52-degree wedge, if I hit that a little thin or just a little hard, it has a chance of going over. And again, over was dead in this situation. So that was a perfect example, taking a conservative approach, hitting the club that I know that I can't put in trouble. I left it short, but then it made a giant putt for birdie. All right, well, like, subscribe. If you guys enjoy this content, let me know what you'd like to see in the contents. Cheers, everybody. Have a great day. But the key, though, is I've got